Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us here at Investment News. My name is James Burton, Managing Editor, and today I'm delighted to welcome Tom Ruggie onto the show. Now, Tom and his team at Destiny Wealth Partners were recently crowned winners of the RIA Team of the Year 10 Advisors or More at the inaugural Investment News Awards in New York City. Here's the announcement from the show.
Next, we have the RIA Team of the Year for 10 Advisors or More. This award recognizes the most outstanding advisory team or office with 10 staff or more that has displayed excellence over the past 12 months. And the award goes to Destiny Wealth Partners.
Wow. Well, first of all, I would like to thank Investment News. This is the most amazing honor I could ever imagine actually having, and I'm extremely humbled to be sitting up here. I kept thinking, what would I want to say that would be memorable if we won this award? And frankly, I couldn't really think of anything, and I kept bashing my head. But it all boils down to three things. One is the client. You do the right thing, period. It's not just about investments. It's about having a huge impact on their life, which we all do. Second, it's about your team. And I'm blessed to have a phenomenal team anchored by the two up on the stage with me, Audrey Mancuso and George Romero. But aside from them, we have an amazing team back in Central Florida. And then third is family, and it's been mentioned a few times, but I always have a saying that anybody I've ever met in my life that is successful has a very supportive spouse. And I'm blessed and privileged to have Kim, who's here with me tonight, as my spouse. But it's not just my spouse, it's our entire team. Whether it's a spouse or a significant other, they all they all have to make sacrifices for us to do what we do. So very appreciative of all, very appreciative to be here, and we should all be very blessed to be here this evening. Thank you.
Tom, many congratulations, and I hope you had a fantastic night.
Thank you so much, James. Yes, had a wonderful evening. As we've discussed offline, I was quite nervous going into the night, but an amazing night, pulled off spectacularly by your team, and have nothing but wonderful positive things to say about it.
Great to hear. Now, just on that, Tom, as founder and CEO, how does it feel to be recognized in this way?
It was an amazing feeling just to even be a finalist, and there were 8 finalists, and to be the winner of the award, which I believe was one of the top awards of the evening. To win that award was unfathomable to me, even surreal. And like I said, it was just an amazing feeling, extremely humbling. That's the feeling that kept crossing my mind, was just this humbling feeling, because I can't help in retrospect but think there's a possibility that from an accolade standpoint, this is the pinnacle of my career. And I just turned 56 a couple of weeks ago, and I like to think I'm not my parents' 56. I still feel young relatively, and vibrant and motivated, but maybe there's some personal accolades that still to come that'll be quite amazing, but I don't know of an accolade above and beyond this. And again, hopefully there is something else, but if this is the pinnacle of my career, I'm certainly still happy with that.
Yeah, as you said, the award does give you a chance to look back on what you've achieved and what your team have achieved. With that in mind, tell me a bit about what inspired the creation of Destiny Family Office and how it serves the uniquely sophisticated needs of your high net worth and ultra high net worth clients.
The story behind that, James, it's actually a very good but long story. So I'll try to give the abbreviated version for this. But I've been a member of Strategic Coach for over 20 years. and fly to Chicago or Toronto, but typically Chicago every quarter for a coaching meeting. And in October of 2016, I was in Chicago and was prompted with questions regarding, hey, if money was not an issue, what is it that you would really like to be doing with as close to 100% of your time from a business perspective as possible? And, you know, I'm in a fortunate position that, and it hasn't always been this way, but money is not what drives anything at this point. I mean, what drives things for me is making a difference, having impact, all the things that it's supposed to be. And so I'm sitting there saying to myself, okay, so money's not an issue. What is it that I really want to be doing with my time, and who do I really want to be doing it with? And I made this big list of kind of the ideal client and the ideal service offering. And that night I went over the list with a colleague of mine from the coach, and he looks at me, he says, so you want to start a multifamily office? And candidly, the thought of a multifamily office as I was going through this, this evaluation had never crossed my mind. And as soon as he said it, it was, that's exactly what I want to do. And so, as I said, James, that was October of 2016. And we opened the doors for our family office business on January of 2017. So if there is one good thing that I do, I'm pretty good at executing, what our ideal goals are. So
Fantastic. Thanks, Tom. As you said there, you are your clients is your mantra. So can you share some examples of how this philosophy is applied in practice?
Well, yes. So going back to your last question, when I really started looking at what is it ideally I'm looking for, and who do I want to work with, the reality of what came out of that was the people that I tend to most enjoy working with and resonate with are people that are similar to me. They're people that have the same problems, the same goals, the same mindset, the same work ethic. I mean, I would describe myself as being pretty entrepreneurially driven. And, as I've already alluded to, I'm working now because I love what I do, and I want to do what I'm doing and make a difference and have an impact. And my top client, as an example, he's almost 10 years older than I am, has more money than he'll ever know what to do with. And yet he's driving harder now than he was when I met him 20 years ago. And again, I'm kind of wired the same way. So I think it's a big advantage that we have in the family office spectrum, because I am my ideal client. I have effectively a lot of the same problems, a lot of the same situations as the clients that I work with do. And, one of my mantras, if you will, if I'm talking to a client or a prospective client, is, hey, knowing what I know, if I were you, this is what I would do. And that's always my mindset. And I think that resonates with, the people that I work with, because over the last 30 plus years in this business, I've created a significant amount of wisdom. I've had a lot of experiences. I've been very focused and diligent on my specific area in the business. And, that's very helpful to people that are coming to us looking for that sort of assistance, and a lot of people that come to us, or at least a lot of my clients, there's certain problems, and problems come up. And I think that's a big part of what we do is we help our clients get through problems, whether it's, regarding their wealth or their family or their business. It's just being that group that's there to assist them with whatever they need. And it's a great place to be.
Thanks, Tom. Great insight there. Now, you know better than me that you've got to stay 2 steps ahead of the curve in this industry. What are some ways that your company has innovated to stay ahead of that curve in order to deliver exceptional service to clients?
That's always a changing process to some extent. One of our core values is no complacency. And, that is a value that my team would be happy to attest to 100% that we have no complacency. I think I drive my team crazy sometimes because there's just this constant desire to do better, to create a better experience for our clients, and very just very driven to to make a difference and kind of be ahead of the curve. And we do have a history within our firm of being ahead of the curve. We were quick to adopt very early and very young. In fact, I adopted fee-based asset management when I had absolutely no money, and my theory was I could afford not to make money because I was already not making much money. So we were way ahead of the curve on that. We were way ahead of the curve on the RIA. We went hybrid initially, and then went full RIA. Again, way ahead of the curve. I think we were way ahead of the curve on the multifamily office, which we're seeing a lot of firms move into that space at this point. And and we're consistently doing things to try to stay ahead of that curve. We just signed an agreement recently with Goldman Sachs to be custodian for our family office clients, which they're relatively new to the RIA custodial world, so we're early adopters of that. We're constantly evaluating our tech deck. We're constantly looking at what different investment options are that are out there. And the bottom line is, we surpassed $1 billion last year, which was a huge goal for us. And I've said it before, but when we hit the $1 billion, it was my mindset was, well, $1 billion isn't what it used to be, because we're still, with all the consolidation going on in our business, we're still a very small firm, yet our service offering is extremely competitive to firms that are much, much larger than we are. And again, I think it's just not being complacent, getting deep into the alternative investments, getting deep into the direct investments such as SpaceX and XAI and Stripe and Anduril and Reddit. Those sort of things on the investment side make a big difference. So we really just try to stay ahead of the curve and like all the different kind of blocking and tackling areas of our business.
So with all that in mind, Tom, what's next for Destiny? What are your ambitions and vision for your team going forward?
As I said, I consider myself a relatively young 56. And what I mean by that is, God willing, health willing, I want to be doing what I'm doing for at least the next 20 to 30 years. Again, a lot of things can step in the way of that happening, but we tend to set very big goals. We're a very goal-oriented firm. We also, utilize a system called Traction, or EOS, that helps to create accountability with what we're doing with our firm goals. But as I mentioned earlier about another one of your questions, it's kind of ever changing for us. And in fact, we had set a very big goal 6 years ago, and it was a 10-year goal. And just this past quarter, we've realized we're going to have to take a step away from that. And the reason is part of the goal had included a significant amount of M&A business coming onto our books. And I actually, just this past quarter, made a couple of very big decisions for our firm. One is we decided, we'd been evaluating private equity investment or infusion into our firm. And after 6 months of evaluation, and frankly, if you'd asked me 2 months ago, I would have said, yes, 99% chance we're moving forward, but ultimately decided not to move forward. And the other big decision that I made that was somewhat impacted by the decision with the private equity is we were not going to pursue, or at least proactively pursue, merger and acquisition anymore. And so that's kind of, again, thrown my team into a little bit of a tizzy, because it has an impact on what all of our long-term goals are. So, we're actually kind of reformatting what our goals are, but my primary emphasis is we have an extremely well-oiled machine on what I call the wealth management side of our business. And our family office side, while we're doing very well there, at 7 years, it's still it's still a little bit in its infancy. So we're not a well-oiled machine on the family office side, and so that's been a very big focus of what we're going to do going forward. Is what does the service offering look like? What additional resources do we need to hire? What additional resources do we need to outsource? And again, it's as I alluded to earlier, there's just this constant mindset of seeking out perfection, but understanding it's never going to happen. And so we've done that on the wealth management side. Not that we're perfect on the wealth management side, but we do have a wonderful process and a well-oiled machine. And so now the focus is to do the same on the family office.
Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting. Thank you so much for joining us at Investment News, and congrats again on your victory.
Well, James, thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you and your team for all that you do. Again, it's been an amazing run from my standpoint, and couldn't be more grateful to be in the position that I'm in.